No matter how great your product or service is, if you don't know how to sell it, well, you can't generate any sales for your business. So in this video, I'm gonna review my top 5 tips you can use to close more B2B sales. What's going on, everybody? It's Patrick Dang here. Make sure to give this video a like, subscribe, and turn on notifications if you want to see more videos like this. And let's go ahead and get started. So when it comes to B2B sales, business to business sales, the first tip I have for you is that you need to qualify your prospect before selling. Now, let me explain what I mean. Now, when it comes to sales, most people make the mistake of selling too early, right? And that's very common because when you're in sales, you think your job is all about selling, selling, and selling. But the truth is, if you ever experience a bad salesperson, what do you always find in common? That they always talk too much, right? They always feel like they don't listen to you. They're trying to push their product down your throat and you're not even interested, but they just, for some reason, keep pushing and pushing and pushing. And that's exactly what you do not want to do. And that's what I'm saying. People always make the mistake of selling too early. So instead, what you want to do is you want to reverse the script. You want to make your customers earn the right to buy from you. That's right, they have to earn the right to buy from you. So let me explain what I mean. When I say qualify your customer, right? Now, the 2 things you have to pay attention to is number 1, do they actually need your product and service, right? Because if they don't need it, they shouldn't even buy it. And number 2, do they even have money to buy it, right? Because if they don't have money, no matter how much they want something, they can't afford it. For example, if you're trying to sell a Lamborghini and you're trying to sell it to somebody who can't necessarily afford a Lamborghini, no matter how hard you push at this person, they're just never going to buy, right? And so that's why you have to ask questions and qualify your customers before they earn the right to buy from you. Now, the next tip I have for you is to focus on pain. So when it comes to qualifying your customers, what does that exactly mean? And the first step you need to take is, do they have a pain? Do they have a problem that your product or service potentially solves? Because if a customer doesn't have any pains, well, there's no reason to buy, right? They don't really need your product or service. And now there's this concept called a bleeding neck problem. And what does that mean? Well, quite figuratively, if you had a bleeding neck and you really just needed to fix it up or you're gonna die, if somebody can save you from that problem, you're gonna pay them anything, right? You'll give them your entire life savings to make that problem go away. Now, when it comes to sales, obviously you're not selling something like that, but you wanna metaphorically use that example. What pains do somebody have that's so painful that they're willing to pay big dollars to make that pain go away? And if you identify those pains and you know that your product and service can solve those pains, well, it's gonna be easy for them to buy because it's a no-brainer. So how you identify these bleeding neck problems is that at first, it's not gonna be obvious, right? Nobody's gonna just come into the door and say, Patrick, I have all these problems, I wanna pay you money to make it go away, right? That's not how people, roll, because, if they did that to every salesperson would take advantage of them. So what you wanna do instead is you wanna take it relaxed, take it cool, and you want to ask questions, right? So you're not selling anything, you're not pushing product, you're not acting desperate. You're asking questions like, what are some of your challenges that you're facing on a day-to-day basis? Oh, interesting. Why is that a problem? How long has that been a problem? Have you tried anything to fix it? How does that make you feel? And they're gonna say things like, oh man, I totally hate this. I wanna change this. I'm wasting my time, I'm wasting my money, blah, 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 blah. And so essentially, you're asking these questions, you're getting the prospect, your potential customer, to keep talking and talking and talking. And over time, what they're gonna do is they're gonna tell you all their problems, right? You're almost like a therapist. They just tell you all their business problems, and even personal problems, and you're listening, taking notes, and you're understanding what their pains are. You're not selling anything. You need to first understand them so you have better material when it comes to the part where it's your turn to sell. But before you sell, the next step after identifying those pains is to uncover their desires and pleasures, okay? Now, the strongest emotion to make someone take an action is pain, right? If they have a problem, they're gonna make that problem go away. The second strongest emotion to make someone take an action is pleasure, what makes them feel good. So when you identify the pains, the next step is to find the pleasures. What are their desires? What do they truly want in their life? And how can you position your product or service in a way that helps them get to where they already want to go? To find those answers, you wanna ask questions like, in an ideal world, what would you want this to look like? If you could have it your way, what would you want to see? Right? So you're making them, in their own words, tell you exactly what their dream scenario looks like. The more vivid you can get your customer to talk about their visions and their dreams and what they want and aspirations, the more details you understand when it comes to pitching. So identify the pains, then identify the pleasures. How do you make the pain go away? And how do you get your customer into a state of desire and pleasure and happiness, right? And then from there, all you really have to do is position your product and service as the solution to the pain and the vehicle that's gonna get them to their pleasures. If they see that, right, logically and emotionally, if they buy into your product and service and they believe that you can actually help them achieve these results, then selling to them is going to be very easy because they already sold themselves. Now, after you got the prospect to understand why they should buy your product and service, the next step that I have for you is to uncover the hidden decision makers. Now, whether you are selling to small, medium business or you're selling to large corporations, there may be multiple decision makers involved in the process before the prospect makes a purchasing decision. For example, if you are, let's say, selling to small, medium businesses, mom and pop shop, if you're selling to, let's say, a business owner, right? And he's a solo entrepreneur. Well, if you sell something to him, he might have to talk it over with his wife before he makes a decision. So you have to ask the question, for example, is there anyone else you think we should involve here before you actually make a decision? And naturally the person will say, yeah, I actually need to talk it over with my wife first, right? Or if you are selling to, let's say, a large corporation, you can ask the exact same question, right? Let's say you're talking to the director of marketing and you say, hey, you know, the conversation's been going really great, I really enjoyed it. Now I'm just curious, is there anyone else you feel should join the conversation before you actually make a decision? And they're gonna say, yeah, I actually need to invite my boss and we need to get the CEO on board and this guy and that guy and whoever, right? No matter who you're selling to, you wanna make sure you know every single person involved that needs to actually push the deal through before the person signs the deal and sends you the money for your product and service. So once you uncover those hidden decision makers, selling is a lot easier because you're talking directly to the people that can buy. The next tip that I have for you is that at the end of your sales meeting, right? You always wanna make sure you have clear next steps. Now, when you're selling things, you don't always sell on the first call. Sometimes you can do that, but those are in special certain situations where there's a lot of marketing involved. However, when it comes to like B2B or selling to, let's say, enterprise companies, they're not gonna buy on the first call. So let's say after the end of your first meeting, right, you wanna schedule a demonstration. Well, at the end of the first meeting, you wanna say something like, all right, well, conversation's been really good so far. I really enjoyed talking to you. Do you mind if I make a recommendation? They'll say, sure, what's up? Then you say, well, the next step, usually what we do is we actually set up a presentation where we get all the decision makers on your end and everyone you think should be involved, and we're gonna show you exactly how we're gonna help you with XYZ. Schedule a day, a time, and then it's done, right? So whatever your next step is, you wanna make sure that it's very clear for you and it's very clear for your prospects and they understand exactly what's gonna happen on the next meeting. You never wanna be in a position where you're just saying like, hey, I'll follow up with you next week, but they don't know why you're following up, right? So it has to be very clear why you are having the next step, which is typically the next meeting. And so with that said, those are gonna be my 5 tips you can use to start closing more B2B sales. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to give this a like, subscribe, turn on notifications if you wanna see more videos like this, and make sure to check out my other videos. And with that said, hope you guys enjoyed this video and I will see you guys in the next one.